All right, thank you. Thank you very much. And hi, everyone. All right. Uh, I'm very excited to be here, and I'm Yulia, and I'm broadcasting from Moscow, the capital of Russia. And before we start, I'd like to ask you to look at these two abbreviations, CLIL and PBL. Do you have any idea? Well, I'm sure you do, what they stand for. Could you please type in the chat box? CLIL and PBL. What's this? Okay, someone is typing. All right. Uh, right. CLIL stands for Content and Language Integrated Learning and Project-Based Learning. Right. So I'm going to tell you how I used these approaches while working on a product, which was a website with a teenager. So let's get started. And these are the stages we're going to go through in our presentation today. We'll see what kind of problems I was trying to solve, right? Because normally when we start a project, there is some sort of rationale behind it, why we're doing it, what aims I was trying to reach, what tools I used. We'll have a look at the screenshot of the product that we have almost finished creating with my one-to-one teenage learner. And then I'll share with you our learning journey, steps by steps, the framework that we went through. And then I'll finish with sharing a few resources and tips. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, problems. Well, these problems were stated by the learner's mother. The learner is 14 years old. He's an eighth grader in Russia, and she had a particular request when she was handing her son to the school. Uh, and her concern was to improve accuracy and grammar. Lots of folks in Russia are concerned about that. Mostly, that's kind of like the first thing they ask for. Then, of course, speaking fluency and vocabulary source. She wanted her son to be more fluent. And motivation. He was quite tired after school and didn't always feel like doing extra work, going an extra mile. So she wanted her son to be more engaged and responsible for his own learning. So these were her problems, her requests, and what were my aims when I was choosing this CLIL and PBL project to go for? Surreptitious learning. Okay, that's maybe a weird word choice, but what I mean is that yes, kids are quite tired. Like parents are very concerned with grammar, improving their accuracy, and quite often lessons are very explicitly focused on that. So I wanted the kid to learn without noticing that he was learning. Um, okay, then I wanted him to do something that would come in useful for him later in life and teach him some skills that he might need outside of the English class. And the tool that I used, well, the tool that helped to drive the project towards solving these problems and meeting these aims was content, right? Starting not with that problem explicitly grammar, but starting with interesting content. And in our case, it was TED Ed lessons about inventions, but it can be pretty much anything. And our end product is this. This is a website created on Wix, Wix, and it's very easy to use. Plenty of bloggers and startup businesses use it to create to promote the blogs and products, and you really don't need to have any technical knowledge to set up this website. There are very straightforward templates, and if you use social media, you'll probably be fine after just playing with it for a few minutes, and you'll see how to add buttons and play with the formats and fonts and create different sections and pages. So as you see, yes, this particular page is the focus on inventions, and if you, in the normal version, if you clicked on one of those pictures, you would see an infographics summarizing a TED lesson on a particular invention, how rubber gloves were made, how a sandwich was created. You would see a short story with actually with plenty of use of past tenses grammar. So I was remembering mom's concerns as well, and was trying to triangulate different needs in one project. Okay, so the learning journey. Now that you've heard this background information, let's deconstruct our 8-lesson project step by step. So if you get interested, you could recreate the same thing, maybe with different content, not with inventions, but with something else, but basically solve the same problems, meet the same aims, with any content that you choose for your learners. So we had 8 lessons, and divided them into 3 blocks. The first one is the biggest, half of the course, 4 lessons, and then 2 lessons went into the second block, and 2 lessons into the third block. Would you take a guess and type in the chat box what aims you think I was pursuing at each stage in each block of the course? Remembering the problems I was trying to solve, motivation, grammar accuracy, vocabulary fluency, and the resources I was using: TED Ed, lessons, short animations, and remembering the end product, this website created on Wix. Any ideas? What were the aims of each stage of each block? I'll give you guys a minute. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. Okay, I'm not sure anyone is typing, so I guess I'll talk you through that. Okay, so at the first stage, we weren't worried about either creating a product or focusing on the grammar issues. Our main goal was to get immersed and get really interested in the content, in the stories of how stuff was made. And we did a bunch of work with the video, lots of prediction exercises, lots of post-watching exercises, a bit of vocabulary exercises, but mostly just to unlock the blocking vocabulary. And summarizing, both oral summarizing of the main points of the video content, and organizing at the later stage of the lesson and as homework, organizing the key information into visual frames, infographics. So during this stage, we achieved a high degree of trust and motivation, and also collected lots of samples of student output, oral and written, without actually pointing out the typical mistakes to the learner, but the language to work with was there after 4 lessons. In the second block, we explicitly focused on troubleshooting and working with the problematic parts, problematic bits and pieces of student language, and doing more or less traditional ELT stuff, working on narrative tenses. And in block 3, we were putting the polished presentations, polished infographics onto the Wix website, choosing a template, uploading the information there, brushing it up further on, and providing descriptions of our work, descriptions of how we started this project. And as we are finishing right now, I hope that the work will be extended into post-course work when the learner will be promoting this website to the external audience, and collecting real subscribers and communicating with them, and entering in a dialogue with the outside world, sharing the knowledge about the inventions that he personally became interested in, and that he now feels and owns as his own, and wants to share with other teens around the world. So the procedures, let's have a look. I mostly told you about them already, and what I mean by extensive writing in block 3 is the descriptive text that you can find on homepage or about me sections of the blog, where the author summarizes his rationale for creating this website and the history of creation. So these are a bit longer paragraphs of writing compared to the short infographics. Okay, this is our learning journey, how we arrived at having our end product. And the resources and tips I'd like to share with you. Well, first, don't start right away with worrying about how you will do the language work in this kind of scenario. Try to find interesting, engaging content, and it will do half of the job for you. If the learner gets really involved in learning about certain thing, the rest will follow way more naturally. And here you can see like 4 YouTube channels that I find interesting and that my learners often find interesting and engaging: TED Ed lessons, short animations on pretty much everything, history of stuff, life nogging, and the School of Life, which can also be interesting for older audiences, not just teens. Okay, so once you've done that and chosen the content that you want to work with, you can start selecting other tools that can help you on your way. For creating the infographics, which were basically the summaries of the video content that we watched and later uploaded on our Wix site, we used Canva. That's a free tool that many designers use to create banners and promotional materials. And you can also find plenty of free infographics templates. There is also a premium option where You can pay for extras, but I don't personally find it necessary, and just free stuff provides me with pretty much everything that I need. This will be useful in the first block if you decide to adopt the same framework as I did. As for troubleshooting, and here I'm talking about the second block of the course, where we were polishing the language and working on problem areas. You can choose any ELT resources that you like, that you feel comfortable with. This is probably the most traditional section of this project, ELT speaking. And for capitalizing, the third part of the project, where you put the information out there and just describe it a bit more extensively, and use the better language after the troubleshooting that you did in the second block. You can use Wix. This is a typo. I apologize, not six. Wix, W-I-X, or Tilde, another source for creating websites, or WordPress, another popular choice. And for the fourth part of the course, the after course part, where the student is looking for ways to get the project out there into the world. I left a question mark here, because I would like my learner to do some research on that, and I'm interested in what kind of solutions he will come up with. So that's pretty much what I wanted to share with you today. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure, and have a good evening from Moscow, and good morning for those of you who are in Bogota, or that part of the world. Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Yulia. Very nice talk. Thank you very much. Very interesting to see the use of websites in that way. And you're right. Yeah, we are spanning lots of time zones. We've kind of moved from the early European start, and now into the South American mornings. And we are going to go into a break for about 20 minutes with it. We we have the break so that we can allow ourselves to catch up time and get people ready. So when we come back after this small break, it'll only be 15 minutes. We'll be into the last hour and a half of the conference, and we've got Jennifer, Ruth, Alistair, and then we'll finish with the CIA and FBI. So obviously the room is still open. Feel free to chat in the chat box. I'm actually just going to clear the chat box so that it works slightly better. There you go. So please fill up the chat box again while we wait, and we'll be back with sessions again in about 15 minutes with Jennifer.